Namaste and welcome to yet another edition of Bodhi Stree. I welcome you and more importantly Padma with us on behalf of G100 and Bodhi Stree to this conversation which has been titled Leadership in Action. So Bodhi Stree is a platform on which we've been having conversations since early 2021, and every month we have a conversation targeted to actually enhancing both amongst three, and that's why Bodhi Stree. G100 is a very powerful network of 100 plus women who are building larger networks. And the idea is to create a equal, progressive, and an inclusive environment for women worldwide. And for that, we have adopted a set of 10 principles, which are called ELEGOSE. ELEGOSE is an acronym for 10 principles. The first E is for education, empowerment, solidarity, equity, legislation, governance, security, ownership, sustainability, and leadership. So today's conversation is pinned around leadership, and we have somebody who's a leader in her own right and is also a specialist of the subject because she's written an entire book about leadership in action. So welcome, Padma, to the show. So let me first begin by telling you a little bit to set in context as to the kind of expertise that Padma comes from. Padma is an engineer from NIT Warangal and then went on to IIT Kharagpur. This was the time when there were very few women in engineering classes. I was just having a conversation and there were just 7 of them in their class back when she did her engineering. She began her career with Hindustan Aeronautics, but later on went on to lead global programs and governance transformation at Sonata Software, where she served as she served as the chief operating officer at Altumind. She's also certified as an independent director and is waiting to take on positions on boards of companies to guide with her leadership companies onwards. So Padma, thank you so much for making it and coming over to Bodhi Stree, especially after having released your book Leadership in Action. So I would first want to ask you that what is it that inspired you to write Leadership in Action? Let's begin from there first.
Namaste, and thanks very much for giving me this opportunity. Really honored to talk to you, and especially about my book, which is launched about a week back. This book is Love of Labor. I have been wanting to write a book for some years, and then I have many observations throughout my career of 3+ decades in the corporate life. So there are so many heroes going into sidelines and not coming up or going into their own cocoons. So I wanted to write a book into the traps that they are getting into and how they can come out and work brilliantly. These are some surmountable problems, and I wanted to project those issues and then how they can come out. So that is what is leadership action and leadership in action is about. That's how the idea started. Yes.
I think it's a very, very important thing right now, because at this moment that we see the maximum leakage in the leadership pipeline usually happens midlife, where many men and women are giving up for whatever reasons it might be. And it's so important, therefore, to showcase stories of resilience and how they have made it to the top. Yes. I think everybody wants to make it to the top, but how to make it to the top is the most important thing. So Padma, when I read your book, I saw that you've touched on diverse themes in your book, many different kinds of themes. And there are these women that you have spoken to and written about. There are actually stories about how each of those aspects really get lived in real life. So let's begin by, so we'll take one of them at a time and then tell us some bits about what you've written in your book. You've written a lot about how it's important to break systemic barriers and overcome bias, which is there, because, it is so difficult to believe that many years ago in the Post and Telegraph department, only women were allowed and men were not allowed to come in. And there were days when air hostesses had to resign once they got married. That's a kind of bias that we've had in this country. So give us some that how have women gone and broken systemic barriers and overcome workplace bias?
Yes, that's a very important point and good question, Swapnalekha. Yeah, so one of the key stories that touched me is Nemi Chandra's. She has observed this systemic bias right from her childhood. As a child, also she observed that the treatment given to the boys versus girls. Boys were given science books or games and that kind of books as prizes, whereas girl babies are given some cookbooks and stitching books, some things like that. So she has a keen observation right from that time, and then she noticed that this is something that she has to work on. Right from a young age, she had that ambition, and then she got into engineering in 1976 when again the whole society told why engineering for a girl child. But she completed engineering in flying colors, and then she joined Tata Institute for post graduation. She finished MTech there, and then joined the HAL in the Advanced Light Helicopter project. It's a very prestigious project those days. In fact, I was also there in that project, and she was my colleague that time. That's when I met her first time. Yeah, and she led many important systems there. She was into the avionics and warfare systems integration, weapon systems integration, flight trials related to weapon systems. Right now, ALH is flying in all three defense of India, and it's a very successful helicopter. So in that weapon systems integration, she has drawn many circuits, made sure that it works, and different flight trials she had been. One of the interesting stories there is once for a torpedo trial, she had to go on board a ship. As she was walking into the ship, all the crew stood and then wished her and all that. But when she told that she came for doing her job there, they said women are not allowed for working on ship. Ship generally only naval officers' wives come. That's why we saluted you, but it is not allowed, permitted for you to work overboard, on board a ship. But then she had all the requisite approvals, and she participated in the flight trials and completed successfully her mission. Like this, she has many success stories into her cap, and she traveled widely, right from Arctic to different deserts for all these flight trials. Very, very interesting case studies she has. When we speak to her, we don't know the time. Apart from that, she continued with her mission of gender equality. She's a counselor. She counsels many women, pulls them out of their bottommost points. And also, she's a well-known Kannada author. She writes. She has more than 35 books to her credit. And she noticed that one of the negative points is as children, as women children, girl children, we don't get to see any scientists and engineers. We don't learn their stories, and that's very rare. So she made it a point to write about women scientists, women engineers. Her Mary Curie book is very, very successful, and it is widely circulated. And similarly, all women engineers, the first women engineer in India, from then onwards, all the women engineers she highlights, she brings out their life stories. So that way, she made it her mission, and this gender equality is one place where she relentlessly works for, and try to bring out that in all her contexts. And when coming to work-life balance, she of course prioritizes the professional front, and she had to many times skip her book launches also because of the pressures at the work side. And she says it is like give and take. The more we give to organization will let us do more and learn more. So that way, she puts completely dedicated to her work front. And she also feels that as a first generation, or our times, we are almost the first generation women engineers. We have that historic responsibility for proving to the world that we can do it. So she holds that in her on her shoulders, and she tries to bring forth her best in all aspects that she does. So this is a very inspiring story that everybody must read
Yeah.
and learn from that. Yes.
I also remember this bit, which was that
Mm.
when she walked onto the ship, everybody got up and saluted because they thought that she was some officer's wife and
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
But amazing story of attitude
Yes.
that of using her competence to her best advantage.
Yes.
And what I also find it very beautiful in what you're sharing is how she's changing this image that women are not meant for jobs like the kinds that she is doing.
Yes.
So one and a picture is always worth 1,000 words, right? So when
Yes.
you see somebody out there in the desert or in pictures of being in Antarctica, Arctic,
Yes. Yeah.
you start thinking, oh, this is possible.
Yes.
And popular media never shows women in roles which are unheard of. They would only show women in traditional roles which are there, and that's a bone I have to pick with popular media a lot because they're not talking about the different the. Everybody has to get opportunities. Boys should get opportunities to learn needlework, and girls should get the opportunity to do science projects. So
Yes.
when you're not giving any to any of them, it's a denial, I think, of
Yes.
human rights, if
Yeah.
I may say. Yeah, very, very. So this is about competence and a lot of gusto that she had.
That's
What about you've seen women, and do you see that building robust networks and having mentoring relationship is something which helps women actually tide over this, what should I say, this crisis which happens mid-career at that time? What have you found that? Because you've written a lot about that also, building robust networks and mentoring relationships.
Yes, yes. So it's very important. Generally, people relegate themselves to their 4x4 feet cubicle and they don't go beyond. Whereas it's very important that their work is propagated and it is demonstrated across the board. Maybe we can take a Gayatri Aditya's story here.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a professor of architecture and she has many things to her further again. She was she has been given Prime Minister scholarship to do postdoctoral research in America. That time she had a small kid, but in spite of that, she leaving the boy at home, giving the priorities, she flew to America, did the postdoctoral fellowship, and successfully completed and came back here. And when she came back here, she had to, she was on a mission of, she joined Nitte Meenakshi College as a professor, and there is she proposed that they should start a planning department. And and they agreed, and then she had to work with the government to start the planning department as one of the departments. And she knows that when she is starting that, it is not just for herself, but it is for generation. It's a legacy that she's creating. So she networked well with different people in government and different places, and got the permissions, got the approvals, and started the department and became principal head of that department in the Meenakshi. And after that, she again, now she moved on to Ramaya University, SRMVIT as a principal of School of Architecture. So it's she has that knack and skill of how to network and networking for purpose, with a purpose. It's not just saying hi bye. So that way, she knows the tricks of the trade, and she developed it very early. She's quite young, very young actually.
Okay.
And she did all this in her life. Yeah. So that way, networking is a very important skill. The work that we are doing is not, it should not be limited to only to myself and my manager, or at the max to my peers. It should be known at least 2 levels above. So that kind of an impact, if we do, and then if we get others know what we are doing, that takes us a long way. So that way, networking is a key aspect as one of the key pillars that I proposed in my book.
So if I were to ask you, and I'm just speaking on behalf of my younger friends, they would have this that you were saying become visible to my, manager and +2. But my manager doesn't like it if I'm getting in touch with him, with my bosses directly. What are some ways that we can ensure that our work gets noticed or at least acknowledged and known that we are doing that work?
I think one way is to get chances to present the work when there is a common meeting. There will be quarterly review meetings and some governance meetings where many people will be present. In these areas, if your work is really outstanding, it will get an opportunity to be presented, and there you can showcase. And
Yeah.
also, when you're talking about your own work, also it should not be shown as if I have done. Yeah, that's where I propose this. I me as a kind of a proposition where we have to say I have done this. My team has contributed in this way, and this whole thing benefits the organization in this way. So that way, if we give a bigger purpose and why that work is done and how it is benefiting the overall organization, that will definitely reach to top management.
I think that's a very, very nice one, Padma. I loved it. That this saying, "my team and we always does not work for women because usually others will uh, talk about their work and take ownership, saying, "I did this bit," and women are more used to always saying, "So that we did this." I think you've given a very beautiful, I would say, formula that you
Yeah.
said, "I have done this, my team has done this, and this is how this is going to impact the organization."
Yes.
It's a very, very, very beautiful framework. And your book has got, we'll talk about it, many such small tools and resources to actually really help in one's
Yes.
day to day.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other bit also is that I think many times women get the opportunity to present, but they shy away from lack of confidence. And I think that really, you pay for it in a really bad way then. And then you start cribbing that people are not noticing what I'm doing because you're waiting for somebody to notice you, which doesn't happen. You
Yes.
have to go and present it.
That's a very valid point. Yeah. You should not be looking forward for something, but you have to say that I'm there. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's there for all kinds of relationships. And I would say that women are a lot on the wrong side, expecting to be noticed
Yes.
and taking undue pride in saying that I do not talk about my work because I'm not selfish. I think the middle course that you suggested is very right. That
Yes.
I
Yeah.
did this, my team does this, and this is how it helped the organization, right?
Yeah.
So while you're doing all of this, and since we're talking about networking and all, I think when it comes to promotions, pay equity, we still have a problem with pay equity everywhere across.
Yes.
Now, how do you suggest, and what examples have you seen of women who have negotiated very masterfully, have been very assertive where required?
Yeah, yeah, that brings us to this subject of negotiation and assertiveness. That is the third pillar that I talk about in my book. So you're very right. People say that why should I beg? They think that it is begging, asking for a promotion, or asking for a pay hike. They think that it is begging. People know what I have delivered, and it should be recognized by itself. I will never ask. It is a matter of pride. I will never go and ask, whereas which is wrong. As we grow up the ladder, negotiation is a very important skill that everybody should learn. And if you see Naima Kausar's story, she clearly wrote that she realized these hidden biases and also this pay equity not being there, and she made sure that she got whatever is due for her at every incident. So this is one place where again there is that give and take is very important. So it should be your manager should know what you are expecting first of all. If you don't ask, they will not know. And then it is also a contract. What is there between the employer and employee is also a contract. According to contract, you are giving me this and this is the result. And if you give me this and this, I can get the benefits. So that way very tactfully it has to be handled. It should not be kept to oneself. And also with this adaptability should be there. Let's say if it doesn't come through, then again it should not be a big fight or breaking the bridges. It should not be like that. It should be very amicably fixed, and there should be some timeline based goals can be set, saying if I do this by this time, maybe can I expect a promotion. So that way it can be done through data based discussions, and then give and take and flexibility in asking also. So this way it is possible to negotiate, and that's where I combined negotiation and assertiveness. So you have to be assertive in what you are saying, why you are saying, and then negotiate appropriately so that you get the whatever is due. Naima has done this. Naima is ICWA, and then she did IIM Bangalore MBA also. So she says that she was the youngest woman in many of the finance related meetings, and she observed that sidelining and then not being heard and things like that. But she fought her way through, and now she is heading GCCs. She's setting up many GCCs in different fields like finance, supply chain, and different areas. And right now she's also working towards making GCCs as a value creator. This is actually generally is a puppet in the heads of the
Awesome.
whereas not call center, global capability center they call.
No, I mean, there's a cost center, I meant to say.
Cost center, cost, yes, yes. Whereas she's trying to make it like a value center.
Correct.
Yeah, so she's doing very good job in that, and she's heading Singh now as a head of GCC. So in her case study, there is a good points about how to fight about pay equality and also work-life balance. Also, she brings out. She calls it as work-life integration. So that story is also very valuable for everybody to read and learn something from that. Yes, yeah.
I think this one was also a very important one. You spoke about that your manager should also know what you expect and well before time.
Yes,
I'll add that to it.
yeah.
That the easier thing is to complain after it doesn't happen, but you have to help your manager help you.
Yes, yeah. That's
I
right.
think, and that, yeah, the entire responsibility of the data, the conversation, I think it's important that we take it in our own hands.
Yes.
And fix up because often I think that since I come from the space of people management, one of the things that even managers are most afraid of doing is sitting down and having a conversation with you about your performance. They just avoid it. They would rather just do it on a paper and, I mean, just do the thing and send it to you on an email, and then it's very uncomfortable, the conversation. So therefore, if somebody else is uncomfortable, then you have to be assertive enough and confident enough to actually fix an appointment and do a structured conversation. Not, by the way, while you're having lunch or having a cup of coffee. I think it's very important to have fix a meeting saying that I'd like to have a conversation with you. It's been 6 months and I wanted feedback about my performance. Because what happens if you don't do this at the end of the 12 months, then you are high and dry. And there's not enough which says you're not good, but there's not enough to say which you're good also. So that data-based conversations become very, very important. Very important. You spoke a lot about work-life balance. And you've also said that this is not like getting work-life balance by compromising on your ambition. So tell us about that. Why have you taken that as I really liked it, achieving work-life balance without compromising ambition.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so just coming back to the previous point of, fixing the manager's appointment, that came out very well in Jane's story. Jane said that she always send out a calendar, either to peers or to seniors, send out a calendar. If they decline, politely again reschedule it instead of forgetting it. So that way, her story brings out that aspect very well. Okay.
Yeah.
And coming back to work-life balance, there are different, all the stories have brought out many valuable ways. One of the very interesting way is the doctors. I also covered a story of Dr. Subhadra Jalali. She's an ophthalmologist, actually, very well renowned ophthalmologist, and she has saved 1 lakh babies from their eyesight damage. And so her story is extremely interesting. I met her in a flight in that 1.5 hours. We just glued to each other, and then I brought out that story. So what she did is, because as a lawyer, as a doctor, she'll be coming back home by 9 p.m. So she made children sleep from 4 to 9 p.m. From after, once they come back home, they sleep, and then 9 o'clock when she comes home, she'll wake them up and then play with them, and 9 to 12 they'll have their regular talking, playing, and eating and all that. And then so that way aligning the schedules, children schedule to match hers, and then having the school next door so that children need not travel a lot. So that way she managed her work life very well. And she's also a phenomenal woman. She's one of the first retinal surgeons, and she trained more than 350 doctors into that. When she went for admission, they rejected her application, saying that women are not allowed into this sector because your hair will come into picture, your hair will fall in when you are doing the surgery. But she said, I'm sorry, just give me a seat and see, I will make sure that you change the perception about women. That way she challenged them, she joined, and then she has become really wonderfully successful, and she mentored so many people. And now when I see my book, many of her students are buying, saying that I want to read about our madam's story.
You spoke about the power of her personality.
Yes,
You've spoken a lot about that.
Yeah,
she got like in, huge amounts of energy and enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, and then that empathy or care for the children, and she is trying at the highest levels in the government, saying that making the eye test mandatory as soon as the baby is born. Okay, so that way she's going all out into taking care of the children, and also she's into dancing, singing, everything, you name it. So that way, very versatile personality, and very impressed with her story.
Very inspirational to actually read about people like that.
Yeah.
And you spoke about empathy and care. Then the other pillar you've said is about developing self-awareness and personal empowerment.
Yes.
That's a very, very important thread through all the stories, I think, that you've put together.
Yeah. So that's
which ones would you want to talk to us about?
So that's the base of everything: self-empowerment and self-assessment. So here I have put the stories of Sonali Datta, Abha Saxena. The people, Abha is a late bloomer. She started her career, like she came back to India from Germany as a single mother. And then she's by then early 30s. And then it is too late to start a career, and she's not very well qualified also. But still, she took up the challenge. She started with Arena Multimedia franchisee for a training institute. And then she got into Sonata Software in the marketing. And then because of her German skills, she's posted in Germany as a marketing head. And when she was not too happy with the things around, then she moved on to another company. Very successfully worked in the sales and marketing in different IT companies. And finally, she started on her own, and she's a DEI evangelist now. She does a lot of good work in DEI audits and making sure that companies follow whatever is the mandates by government for DEI. She started on her own, and she's doing very well. So that shows the empowerment and the strength, self-strength that she has in taking on things and just delivering it. And then Sonali Datta also is a retired. She had a very 38 years of experience in Briar, and she has handled many posts. And after all that, she decided to go back to organic farming and starting her own farm in Goa. So that way, these are some of the things which are their self is so strong that they are able to do, and self-empowerment to learn everything new and just reinvent themselves into newer franchises of life. And also there are some silent warriors who are quietly successful, like my classmate Sunil Khurana. He started working as a frontline warrior, as a salesperson in GE, and he has learned tricks. GE is a wonderful processes. So he picked up all those processes, and then there was an opportunity to start this BPL technologies. He just took the chance immediately, and then he grew it from 0 to 900 people company now. He was the CEO till last year, and now he has become executive vice chairman. So the authentic leadership and being humble and being a people person, how you can grow from where to where. So that's where is a very inspiring story of Sunil Khurana's.
At the end of the day, it is the character of the person which takes him through, isn't it?
Yes.
Always.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why I didn't want to focus only on women. There are men also, women also, both sides. The common are problem,
Absolutely.
but women have some added disadvantages, of course, which we cannot say no,
Mm.
because of the inherent biases and all.
Mm.
But some of these career problems are common for both. That's why I covered some men as well as women. Yes.
Absolutely. I think work-life balance continues to be a struggle for even men,
Yes.
and more is expected out of them at work as if they don't have a family at home, which happens with women also. But the problem is that for women is that at work everybody thinks you don't have a family, and in the family everybody
Yeah.
thinks you don't have work.
That's
But at least men, the problem is only one place, that
one place. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
that they think that you don't have a family at home, but
Yeah.
the family at home thinks that you've got work only, so that makes it easier.
Yeah.
So apart from that, you also spoke. You also feel very strongly about that women have to increase their strategic visibility, especially if you have to take the corner office and reach the top.
Yes.
Then what are the kind of things that you would say? And you know how women are. They will say, "I don't want to beg. I don't want to tom about myself." Then in
Yes.
that situation, what is the best way to create your brand and increase your visibility within the organization? Because that is key to growing at the
Yes.
workplace.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So that way, yeah, but I have given different tools. One is moreover, more so now in these current days of social media and everybody being visible online. If
Mm-hmm.
we remain to ourselves, it will be dormant only, and we will reach nowhere. So it's very important. Strategic visibility is the crux of my book. I say that that's the key thing that everybody must do by by one is create the network where you create your allies. For developing the allies also, you need to tell them the work that you have done and how you can help the organization better. So you build allies within the system, and then network with at different levels, right from senior levels to peers to juniors. At different levels you build your own network, and have a calendar of with whom to connect and when and how. So try to build that a very conscious efforts towards building your own visibility. It's very much required, calendar of events, and then do according to the calendar as much as possible, so that you are able to reach the goals of being visible at different levels.
So when you say calendar, would mean events outside of the organization also.
Outside of the organization, inside, on social media, for everything, it
Wherever.
should be a holistic thing where you present your work consistently. From time to time, you should, first of all, you should do. There should be the staff. The key thing is the one is capable and they're able to deliver, and deliver more than what is expected. And once they do that, don't keep it to yourself. You have to show it in different forums to make it visible to different people, and how valuable you are to the organization. It should be known to everybody. In these
Yeah,
days
yeah.
of layoffs and all, also it's very important that you are visible even outside the organization, and you build you so many interest groups are there, either technical or management. PM groups are there, or different technology groups are there. You have to become a prominent member in those groups, and start contributing to those groups also. So there are different ways in which you have to make your presence felt. That is what is required.
Yeah, I think for networking, the most important thing is to network with the attitude to add value to the network which you're becoming a part of.
Yes.
When you start adding value, automatically then you start getting noticed. So it's not that you're doing empty marketing for yourself.
Yeah.
And somebody once said to me, and I really like it, that boast but be honest.
Yeah.
That's important. Boast but be honest. That
Being
but
honest,
boasting is needed.
boasting
Boasting is needed
is
today.
needed. Yeah.
So there's somebody on the LinkedIn Live has asked a question saying that what, according to you, are the support systems needed by women for achieving professional excellence? Things which would help women. What support systems?
Support systems basically. see, women limit themselves. First of all, they shouldn't be feeling guilt. That I'm leaving the family, I'm doing so much. That kind of guilt is not required. There is so much material online saying that by working professional, by working, you are improving your own life, not only your children's also, your families also. So that guilt should be out of the mind.
Mm.
There's no point in being guilty and
Mm.
lamenting about it. And other than that, the family, whatever can be delegated should be delegated. That's on the family front, family running front, whatever can. These days, so many things are there. There's a Swiggy, Zomato, and big basket like that. Nobody needs to be ideal. I will do everything, and so that is not required. So whatever can be delegated should be delegated, and support system should be at the work front should be maximum. Some are crucial. Some are crucial, that spending time with the children, cooking food, good food, healthy food, these kind of things. Whatever you feel are important for the family, that you take care. But whatever otherwise, the other aspects to be delegated to others. And also keep in good books with the family also, so that the whole family can come to your rescue in times of a crisis. And on the work front also, so the voice should be heard. So they should, it isn't up to them to how they make their voice to be heard. I hear, like, it's very common saying that a woman generally is not heard in the meetings, and because she's not being heard, if she raises the voice, it will be labeled as
Aggressive.
very aggressive. And but these are some things, that some biases that we have to work to how to overcome those, and how to build our own assertive self. Instead of being labeled as aggressive, let us be labeled as assertive. And we have to build our own means and mechanisms in which we build support within the organization also for the work that we do. Yeah. This is how both work front as well as the family front, one should work
Yeah.
support system.
Yeah, this is something which even most women who've been able to be successful in leadership roles have managed to leverage the power of their family. But then, yes, there are some families which are supportive and there are some which are not. But one should try one's level best to leverage as much support as is possible. And one thing which you spoke about, this women not being heard in the room, I think if women are able to just get rid of this need to be nice, and as one of my favorite authors, Chimamanda, says, is of being likable. This urge to be wanted to be always liked by people is something that we have to get rid of, and we have to have the courage to be disliked in whichever situation. We have to, therefore, I think our own moral compass needs to be very strong, so that you do what is the right thing to do. And after that, if you're not likable, it's okay, because you will be one of those who will then change it. And other women who are like you then won't be as dislikable as you are. So I think that's a contribution that all of us have to make, those of us who are in
Yes.
actual leadership roles.
Yeah, that has come out strongly even in some of the stories. Ability to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, women should be able to say no where it is not their cup of tea, or it is not up to them. Yeah, so yeah, that's a very critical point that you brought out.
It's very important. And I think that many times women are saying yes when their insides are saying no, but they still say yes because they so want to be liked by other people. So I think that, so somebody on the LinkedIn also says not wishing to be a good girl. Because I always say, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, that, well-behaved women seldom create history. So if you have to create history, you have to, sign up to not being the well-behaved as per social norms to be like that. So one thing which makes your book very attractive, Padma, and one of the things you right now said also, that when you are communicating, you first say, I did this, my team helped me did this, and this is how we can create an impact on the organization. I think that was a wonderful tool. And similarly, you have many interesting tools and reflective exercises in your book. And the favorite one for me was the workplace dynamics one. Yes. So why don't you just walk the audience through with that one? Because I really like that one.
Yeah, so workplace dynamics is basically people are so much into their work, they don't even know who are the decision makers. Sometimes, who is the CEO, they don't know. who is the CFO, they don't know. Whereas in workplace dynamics, you map out the whole organization and different departments and who is what in each department and who are the key decision makers. They should know of the line who are the key decision makers for different aspects, and also the influencers. There will be some informal influencers who basically drive most of the decisions in the organizations. Automatically it happens, some people are more powerful. So who are the influencers around you? And then map this, have this map in your repository, and then see who are your allies and whom you have to build as allies. Okay, some you may not be knowing. You have to start networking, talking to them, and then build that allyship. And that's how you have to work towards understanding the organization overall, people who is what, and where to build the bridges, and make good friendships. And sometimes it may so happen that you resonate, your thinking process may resonate with that person's. So that way, once you should be eyes and ears open around. That is what it is, that the workplace dynamics map, it helps in doing that.
I really liked it because I think that it forces the reader to take a step back and actually reflect upon what are the things which are important for growth apart from your performance. What happens is when you rely too much only on your performance, then you end up a lot bitter because added to performance, there are a few other things that you need to do. And I always tell when I speak to people, younger people, saying that you have to allow the system on the leaders to discover who you are. You have to create those avenues for them to discover who you are. If you think you are good, then be out there so that people discover you are good. And if you're good, then you will get the raise, the promotion, the added project that you want. You cannot expect people to imagine how good you are based on just probably now we can't say paper because there's nothing, it's just paper now, and everything is happening online, which has its own disadvantages. Paper sits on a table and there's more a value to it because it stays in your memory. It's imprinted in your mind. But now everything has become electronic. So, some email, some appreciation has gone and logged in somewhere over here. I think it's your responsibility to remind people about how good you are. And if you don't, then you miss out. So this is one. What are the other tools that you have? Why don't you tell us about them?
So for this dynamics, once they have the workplace dynamics map, they can do the visibility planner. Planner and collaboration map. Based on that, again, I said the calendar of events, like how to make our visibility felt at different levels based on our work. So that's another tool that is there. But and to start with, they have to know where they are. So the self-awareness scorecard, that's something that I proposed. And bias journal, like everybody has our biases, even our own biases we should know. So if we realize that sometimes we have to journal it and we have to understand ourselves much more. So that is what is the self-awareness. And then the energy planner, at what times my energy is depleting and what I should do or what I should not do at those times. And then the confidence journal. Confidence journal is where you yourself assess for yourself, like this is the place that I could have spoken out. This is where I have not talked enough or I have not contributed much. So that way, the confidence journal of your own behavior, you start monitoring, and then create a tracker, saying a growth tracker, which are points I'm able to improve. Okay. Similarly, the negotiation grid for negotiation needs a lot of preparation. So so the negotiation preparation, and then branding calendar, IVE framework, like telling everything in IVE for the whole organization, what happens. And then I'm also suggesting the reflections. I have suggested 7-step career framework where they can monitor what is their current status of career and how they want to go about it, and what are the 7 steps that they need to take for the career progression. And monthly and quarterly and annual reviews of each of these things, so about how the progress has been. So that way I'm trying to come out with a workshop series based on the framework that I suggested. So it's all work in progress. So
Oh,
I think I'll be creating a workshop series to popularize this framework and make it
yeah,
as a useful tool for everyone.
I know. They are very useful. The only thing needed is the discipline to follow through with that. If one does that, then success is assured, I could say.
Yes.
So so this was about all the principles in the book and all of that. How has this entire experience of meeting and capturing what the essence of leadership is various people are, did your own assumptions also get challenged when you wrote the book?
Yes, it is quite revealing while talking to different people, understanding their life stories and then career progressions. So it's in different walks of life, similar things are happening. More or less, it is same set of issues that people face, and
Mhm.
that tenacity, that perseverance, and that grit, and these are the important aspects that one needs to showcase to come through different situations and face the life. So my own assumptions in the sense, yeah, definitely it has changed. My own visibility levels were also very poor. Now it is improving. The strategic visibility is something that very key takeaway for me also. And yeah, so different, like for example, Vidyarthi, he has struggled through, for growth. He started a very as a engineering trainee, from engineering trainee to becoming CMD, the various power plays that he faced, the politics in his office, and how he went through the jealousy, and how his mentor helped him to come through all these difficult situations and reached up to the CMD level. It's quite revealing, like that each one has their own piece to contribute to the overall leadership. So it's quite revealing. The book journey is very interesting, and I have learned a lot through the process.
I can just about imagine. Must have been leading, meeting one after the other. Such incredible leaders must definitely have been
Yes.
an incredible experience. So we have a question. Madhavi asks this question, that how does one hold on to one's patience and continue with these practices when things don't happen quickly enough?
Yeah, I think patience is the key. Patience is very much required, just because in my own life, when I was very young, I was branded as an angry young woman. I very impatient, and just to things should happen like this, rush of things every time. But over time, in my 25th year, there was a big bash done by the company. Our CEO told that Padma's greatest asset is her patience. I was shocked. Yeah, I think over time this gets developed, because being restless and by burning bridges we don't get much. Okay, and patient and being assertive in pushing through what you want to say, keep saying, and then just working towards it. I think it develops patience. Yeah.
And you did speak a couple of times, and I think it's important not to burn bridges. Many times it happens, things come to a pass where you feel like just ending everything and walking off. It's always a very bad idea.
Yeah, that's
Very
right.
bad idea.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
usually impatient people
yeah.
have this proclivity to do that. So
Yes.
if we were to ask you that readers had to just take away one principle from leadership in action, which one should it be?
I think this principle also we have repeatedly told, that is my main aim is that strategic visibility.
Okay.
Everybody must work towards strategic visibility instead of keeping their work to themselves. Whatever good work is being done, it has to be promoted, it has to be tom so that people get to know, and they work towards their strategic visibility. That's one of the key things that I want to say. And then leadership comes in different forms and shapes. It need not be title related, or only this person can be a leader. It's not like that. Everybody can become leaders. These are all simple, some simple techniques, and they should see through the situation, like what is not going right. So by having good mentors and talking to well-wishers, they can definitely make out where things may not be working out for them. And anybody means generally people should try towards becoming leaders, and they will become leaders. Yeah.
So this book, Padma, have you brought it out in paperback, or is this a Kindle book? How do you plan to? If somebody wants, then probably I've put the link to the Amazon on the chat, so that people, those who are watching, who come by and watch this conversation and are curious about the book, can actually go onto LinkedIn and go onto Amazon and buy it. So are you planning to publish it in paper, or do you want to keep it just a Kindle version only?
It's there in Kindle as well as paperback.
Oh, it's paperback also.
As paperback, and it is there on Amazon, Flipkart, and Jiffy Bees. Jiffy Bees also it is available. And right now, I think there is a 10% discount running in in one of these in Jiffy Bees and Amazon. There is a 10% discount running. So if they find any problem, they can approach me. I can give that coupon.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So those of you who are watching and listening, if in case you want that 10% discount, just get in touch with Padma on LinkedIn, and she'll send you the coupon code, and you can have the thrill of having a discount. It's always thrilling to get some discount.
Yeah.
So it's been a learning experience for me talking to you only, Padma. That listening to all these.
Yes.
Wonderful. I hope your book becomes like a huge success, and thank you so much for coming over and having a conversation about this. And those of you who are listening, listen to the conversation in full, and I'm sure there were loads of pearls of wisdom spread in the entire conversation. But as we said, it's important that we follow it through and be disciplined about it. And remember, the last takeaway and the most important one, which Padma herself is also working on herself, is about building strategic visibility, and it is very important. So make sure that you don't miss out on that one, because that one thing might just be the reason why you may miss the bus. So thank you so much, Padma. Any other final thoughts you would have, or we would close this conversation? It's been an incredible hour talking to you.
Thanks very much, Swapnalekha.